Namaste. Welcome, beautiful souls. Welcome to my Saturday chat. It's lovely to be here and share this time with you. Today, I'm going to carry on, and we are still working on the Mythologia, Fennica, Margaret Peterson, Greenwood Tarot comparison. And today I'm going to start the Suit of Pentacles. I know we've done the court cards pretty much, but I will go back and circle back to the court cards for the Pentacles. Do the Ace, 2, and 3. So that's on the plan for today. And I thought I would start with a reading today with a deck that I got some time ago but haven't used. I thought it's just perfect for this season. And this is the Daydream Tarot deck. And the company name, the brand name is JRS. I wonder if that actually is stands for juniors in some way. I don't know. And then KVARO. I did send a message to the brand or to the store on Amazon to get some more information on the deck. It's very hard to find out anything about this company. There are about 5 decks that have been produced. I have no idea if it is original artwork or it is AI. I just was really intrigued with its whimsical nature. And so I thought I would do a reading for the season today. And I do love the pippish nature of the minor arcana. Welcome, Clevis. And not all. So this is 5 of Wands. There's something really intriguing. And as I was doing a little bit of legwork, trying to figure out where this deck actually comes from, and thinking about some of its art, it does remind me a little bit of, I think it's Rome Choi is his name, the creator of Dreaming Way Tarot. And I wonder if this deck actually comes out of Korea. I have a funny feeling that it just might. Now, the cardstock is not great. It is a little bit cardboardy. Too much riffle shuffling will most definitely ruin these cards. But I'm going to do that. And just kind of focus on the energy of today and the season and do a reading for the collective. There is no credit for any artist on the deck, which makes me very, on the box, which makes me very suspect. There's also no book. So, yeah, the Daydream Tarot deck. I thought, I'm hoping I get a little bit more information. This is the box. I'm hoping I get a little bit more information. And then I thought I would do a side-by-side with the Shadowland Tarot. I'm sure most of you know Monica Bedorsky's Shadowland. It reminds me a little bit of this deck, not entirely. And I might think of another actually to do a side-by-side with, but it's kind of cute. And it certainly fits in with this season. The moon has moved into Cancer, and it is October the 11th, 2025. And here we are. So cardinal water, we are in this middle decan of Libra. Hi, Jennifer, welcome. The moon is waning, and I'm feeling a need for some quiet, and as you know, healing for sure. Hello, Dee, welcome. I am just looking for some words of wisdom regarding space and time and maybe reflection. It's been really, really intense energy, and I know that I have certainly felt that physically in my body. I am fully aware that when I am moving through illness, that because I am so sensitive, it certainly in some capacity is a reflection of what's happening out there. And this will be lingering, I have no doubt, for a little bit. The Chariot. And I have changed rooms. I'm back in the main room of my house for the winter. It's too cool to be in my garage, so I'm back out here. Lighting is a little bit different. I am intrigued with this location of the Chariot. How in the world did this caravan get on the top of this rock? And it almost looks like it's facing in. This is very weird. We do have a full moon. I kind of like that for Cancer. And isn't that interesting? The moon has moved into Cancer just 30 minutes ago. And we have the major arcana reflecting that energy. Hi, Donna. Welcome. I wonder how many of you feel that way, like you're sort of on this precipice, not sure which way the cart is going to roll. What would be the advice here? And it almost, I mean, this is a pathway, but I was thinking too, there's a reflection of stairs. I don't really see any beings. Oh, okay. Two of Wands. Well, that certainly makes sense following a Chariot card. And when I look at the Lover's card, I'm thinking of a reflection of two as well. And I was asking about a time for reflection. A time for quiet. Maybe advice on where to put energy at this time. And I'm thinking that there's also this sort of underlying layer of whether you see horses or sphinxes. Excuse me. In a traditional Chariot card, I'm just feeling a lot of twos here. A lot of separation, and this is a time where perhaps we are being encouraged to make a decision. And while I am taking this, 6, 7, maybe 10 days to regroup, I've had a lot that's happened the other side of this lunar cycle, and I need to kind of figure out my next steps. And so with the Chariot card and the Two of Wands, I'm really feeling this pause. The Lover's card reminds me of duality as well, too. I'm thinking of the twins. I'm thinking of all that is reflected in Gemini and its minor arcana association of swords, the intensity of the swords and how important it is to find the space between the noise of those very noisy 8, 9, and 10 of swords cards. But also with the Lovers itself and the Lovers and the Chariot being sequential, there's something about journey implied here as well, too. almost being ready for transition, taking a moment before the next step. And I don't want to overcomplicate this. Oh, hello, Tina. Welcome. Something is brewing. I really feel like something is brewing, and taking a moment, taking a few days to reflect feels really important here. Hello, Magdalena. Welcome to you. Well, I am intrigued, and I will continue to play with these, do some small pulls, and see if I can find out more information about the deck for you. And then come back with side by side with another deck that seems to fit the season, Sawan deck. Okay, I do have another deck that came to me, and I haven't played with it yet. And I was, a couple of years ago, very intrigued with this deck. And this is Tarot of the Holy Spectrum. And this is now in its third edition. And there were a bunch of different special boxes that were offered. Ooh. Yes, I suggested Shadowlands, but I think you're right. Joie de vivre would look really nice with that. Mm-hmm. And when this deck first came out, I didn't get it. I just was in sort of the mood of, I don't really need another Waite Smith variation. But there are a few cards in Tarot of the Holy Spectrum that I find really intriguing. And I decided to order it while there was a few more limited editions available. And I'm curious. Oh, see, now look at this lover's interpretation. I really like that. Almost as if, well, I don't know if you see a mirror, a wall, a stick between the shadow and the self. That really appeals to me. The minors in this deck are not pip cards. They are fully illustrated. That is Seven of Cups. And so this is another one that this was one of the selling cards of this deck. I really like this Ten of Cups card. And so I need to sit with it and see how it fits into working with planets, astrology, and so forth. Very interesting that the Suit of Cups is red. Wands is green, like the spring. Ooh, look at that. That's a gorgeous Ace of Pentacles. My goodness. So, very brilliantly colored deck. Let me know if you have been working with Tarot of the Holy Spectrum, and I will come back in the not too distant future with a review and some sort of a comparison for you. What else is happening? So I thought I would let you know, maybe even apologize that life has sort of gotten in the way of making videos, and I don't know when I will be able to resume doing that, but I haven't forgotten about the many incomplete series that are out there, as well as my promise to do some recordings and share with you my Hallow Quest, my personal Hallow Quest. I did not begin the fall Hallow Quest. I have completed the introduction, so now I'm thinking that I will start the Hallow Quest for Yule, for the 21st of December. I need to sit with that and figure out when all of that is going to happen. Saskia, did I say hello to you? Welcome. Nice to see you. However, I am on Saturdays going to carry on with the comparison of these three earth-centric decks. And today we're going to begin the Suit of Pentacles and talk a little bit about how this earth element is interpreted across these three decks. And honestly, I love doing this. I get to revisit old favorites and get to reflect on things that I have studied over and over again. And it feels really important to do that, even though I have done a very deep dive into the Margaret Peterson Tarot and the Wildwood Tarot. Now, the Greenwood Tarot is the predecessor of the of the Wildwood Tarot. And from time to time, I have been referring to the guidebook for the Wildwood because the guidebook for the Greenwood is very, very brief. And this is my first time working with the Mythologia Fennica, so my knowledge of Finnish mythology is kind of sparse. I've been trying really hard to bring in connections with cards and build a deeper understanding with this deck. Yeah. So the aces of stone, the aces of earth, take on a slightly different interpretation in the Mythologia Fennica than in the Greenwood and the Margaret Peterson. In the Greenwood and the Margaret Peterson, there's a real acknowledgement that the suit of earth, that everything comes from the suit of earth and everything returns to the suit of earth. There also is an acknowledgement that the ace is the complete suit, that the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 10 of the suit are a part of what is contained within the ace. And sometimes I forget this interpretation of the ace, that the ace is not separable. The ace is a complete entity. And there's a couple of great lines I will share with you from these decks, and probably was in the Wildwood Tarot. And just in case you're not familiar, the some of the cards in the Wildwood Tarot are in a different order, a different position than in the Greenwood Tarot. However, the three that we're looking at today are pretty much straight across the board. Okay, so the Ace of Stones. I'm just going to read here. The concept of the material world as a solid, unchanging thing has evolved with our understanding of the cosmos. Human beings seem unique in their ability to interact with the material world, and yet to have a foot in the other world of the mind, imagination, and creative will. To be connected to the earth, and the power that resides there allows us to draw from this primal source and direct the power of our minds to create change in our world. And I love that because all of those words, all of that language reminds me how, once again, inseparable all of these elements are. That within the suit of the earth is the influence of the mind. It's our heart and our feelings and our actions, and it's all contained within this rather complex suit. While none of these decks adhere to Golden Dawn correspondences, if I go back to that association, which I resonate with deeply, the suit of Pentacles is the fourth suit. It is the suit that comes after Wands, Cups, and Swords. It is the suit that represents an integration of the energy of all of the previous suits. And I think whether we look at it in that way as an integration of all of the other elements, or as some great force or some great cumulative energy from which everything will arise, it is a pretty powerful element. The Ace of Coins from Margaret Peterson says to bring forth life. Just as the whole tree is contained within the seed, the Ace of Coins contains the entire potential of the earth element. Growth, nourishment, the plant and animal kingdom, the visible creation with its potential of becoming, the material realm, profit, security, the physical and the organic. All of the riches of the earth are contained within those opportunities you are able to seize. A time for new projects. Trust in that which you nourish. Wishes condense, and an opportunity to plant a seed. Give the body everything it needs. When we were doing the deep dive of Margaret Peterson, we had a lot of discussion about this particular card. And some people saw a keyhole. And I know there are several Aces of Pentacles where you sort of walk through a contained garden, and through that contained garden and beyond, you enter into the great wide world, maybe the great wide world of Malkut. And then others looking at this one, myself included, saw almost the shadow of a little tiny human in the center of the card, beginning a journey. Walking through that keyhole, walking through to the unknown. So in a way, this card is one of unfolding, and I don't know, it's like a real mysterious gift is being presented here. Mark Ryan in this particular card talks about it feels like Alpha and Omega, how we have the circles and the cups, and it's just all here. Everything we could possibly want is here. And so I wonder, what are we going to do with it? I've read the 9 descriptions of the cards I'm going to talk about today, so a lot of it's just blurred in my head. But this word of responsibility came up in a couple of places, and there's a request here. There's a responsibility here that should this ace be presented to us, it's asking us, well, what will you do with it? An ace won't become anything if we don't plant the seed. And it's sometimes we just don't know what to do and where to go. And I think that's why in tarot, it's really important to pull a few cards, I would say at least 3. Because in isolation, and if it's not in response to a question, it's really hard to pin down a meaning of a tarot card. In Mythologia Fennica, this is a card of nourishing the seed. That's amber underneath my feet, if you heard that. Nourishing the seed. And here we are in a field, and we are reminded how important it is to honor the process of growing and the process that the grain undertakes on its journey to providing its abundance and feeding us in return. I'm going to read from that book, but I was really hearing this idea of reciprocity and how important our interaction with the element is. This sounds very much like what Mark Ryan and John Matthews write about again and again in the Wildwood Tarot, and sometimes their language is really quite strong, and it's angry about how we have violated the planet. And I appreciate these reminders. You know, it's like when the birds, well, I mean, this time of year, right? A lot of things are going to seed. And I wish that I would have a full crop of mustard and herbs and everything that reseeds so easily. It would come back in tremendous abundance if the birds didn't eat it all. And I need to hear this lesson again and again, because the fruit of my hard work over the summer is also important food for the birds, whom I appreciate tremendously. Susanna Sallow writes about Pelon Peko. Pelon Peko aided in sowing during spring, made the land fertile, and the ale, the milk of the field, taste good. Common sacrifices for him were a sheaf to be used as a cushion or a little bit of silver. The first taste of every batch of ale was also reserved for Peko, and it had to be taken to that field from which the barley had been harvested. So direct reciprocity. In return, he would make the crops grow, give the people good mood, and pick the bad grains away from the ears. According to folklore, Pelon Peko could take the form of a white rabbit and show himself by running from one end of the field to the other. So we have read about all kinds of haltia in the Finnish folklore, and the fields themselves have this beautiful energy of protection and a reminder of nourishing. Like, if we want the protector of the field to provide healthy plants and grains and vegetables, then we need to feed it. It's not unlike the added care throughout the summer, where we give fertilizer and fresh compost to the garden as necessary. Welcome to Maeve. How true. The birds just spread it to other corners of the earth. Excuse me, still not 100%. There is a very important question that is asked of this card. Are you ready? Are you ready to receive luck and do everything you can for your own happiness? Remember that responsibility from your own happiness is in your own hands in the end. Give your everything to the projects you feel inclined to at this moment and build your life to be ever happier and ever wealthier. And so, whether you are receiving an ace of stones, or let's say it's another element, an ace of cups, an ace of swords, there is some sort of response from the querent that is absolutely necessary in order for this ace to come to fruition. Let's remember that it has the potential to provide great and wonderful things. Yeah. I'm looking at Dee's comment here. You have, I know, isn't it? It's really amazing how things can turn up in other parts of the garden. I'm thinking of some of the herbs that I've planted, in a pot far away from where they show up a couple of years later, or a particular herb that I tried to eradicate from my garden. I had no idea how it would spread. And I think that was probably 6 years ago. It still grows. It grows everywhere, and everywhere I don't want it to grow. But it does provide lovely blue flowers, and the bees and the other pollinators absolutely love it. I have a 6x8 entranceway with a small strip for planting. That strip always has a walnut seedling growing out of it. Love, my squirrely friends. Ah, that's beautiful. How did you know? Yes. Yes, it's borage. And it just comes back again and again. Everywhere I don't want it to, I have to really, really tend to it. And I mean, it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, 2. We all know so many ways to oh, that's funny. Yeah. This is a really interesting card. Margaret Peterson sort of includes the Ouroboros sort of energy, the lemniscate energy. This card, when we go back to the Tarot of Marseille, looks a little bit like this card here. 2s, like I was saying with the ace, in the 2, we need to do something, right? With the seed, we have to do something with the gift of the ace. There is a response, an action that is required. And I don't think I've ever really thought about that energy, that movement of energy, or if you think about the Waite-Smith Tarot and the juggling of the coins, the offset feet, the waves that are in the back in the ocean and things like that, as a response to what we're going to do with the ace in the Ace of Coins. The two of stones in the Wildwood Tarot and the Greenwood Tarot have always kind of thrown me off. And a lot of things have sort of come to mind since I've been sitting here the last hour looking at these cards again. I'm thinking too of what Mel Meline and Susie Chang. So they have a great blog where they talk about the 36 decans. It's, one of you can type the name into the chat. It'll come to me. And they talk about the physical characteristics of the suits. And in the winter, we have this hardened earth. The soil gets compacted, and the earth is quite hard in early spring. And in early spring, we require tools and a tremendous amount of energy, fire, wands, Aries, in order to begin to till the soil. And when I'm looking at the Ace of Stones and the Two of Stones, I want to remember that whether this is a coin or a stone or a pentacle, in order to break it open, in order to do something with it, there's quite a bit of force and action that may be necessary for this to happen. If you're thinking about maybe the Ace of Coins for you represents a new business, a new project, right? Something that you are putting forth at work. Maybe this is something you're doing on your own. There's a lot of energy that is going to sort of come your way that will be of tremendous challenge. And I don't think I ever really thought about this sort of juggling Pamela Coleman Smith Two of Pentacles as that kind of challenge. Now, Two of Pentacles, Golden Dawn correspondence, is the beginning of winter. So it comes right at the winter solstice. It is a card that marks change, right? So at the solstice, from end of Sag, beginning of Capricorn. That Two of Pentacles card is often compared to the Wheel card, big change, little change. And so when I think about these boxing hairs and that particular keyword challenge, and I reflect on that spring association as well too, it just sort of hones in the importance of doing something with the gift of the Ace of Pentacles. And the beautiful words of Margaret Peterson, you see that the feet, right? The footprints are here. And she refers to the act of walking. And let me read you her words, because the paraphrase, Sadhana's paraphrase, is never as good. The soles of your feet are the part of your body which have direct contact with the earth. This card is all about transforming all that happens often. For example, walking from a mechanical automatic and unconscious act into a conscious one. Take a step and be aware of it. When I look at the boxing hairs, I'm not exactly seeing awareness. I'm seeing more of fight, flight, response sort of thing going on. And I really like this idea of the carefulness of the pace of every step. Didn't think about that. And she quotes the Tao Te Ching. She writes, "A way is created by walking it. A way is created by walking it." Okay, so this is another full circle. So for sadhana, me, the suit of wands is the suit of dharma, the suit of life path, the suit of life purpose. And that is initiated with the fire element. Then we come full circle of the tarot, and we have created the path upon which we do our work. And there's just something here that I probably can't articulate any better than that. But this connection really sits with me and kind of love that. Now, in the Mythologia, Fennica, this one says, "Caught in the forest." There are haltias, spirits in the forest, that if we find ourselves wandering there, can sort of overcome us so that we find ourselves walking in circles. We keep retracing the same step, going around and around and again. Sounds like Winnie the Pooh. There was a chapter where they did that. They came back and forth to the same place over and over and never got to where they intended to go. So this kind of has a double-sided message. One is that we may very well indeed need to get lost in the forest. There's a level of reflection and contemplation and retracing your step and retracing your path that might be absolutely necessary. This might have healing qualities and potential to it. But it could also represent an inability to go forward. So we can't really get off that hamster wheel. Okay. While wandering in the woods, it was possible that the folk of the earth would begin to lead the traveler astray. This would then put them under the metsanpeito, literally forest cover, a sort of charm. Under the metsanpeito, one could travel through familiar places without recognizing them or walk in circles indefinitely. Forest could also cover the person or animal completely from human eyes, if, for example, they had stepped off the path of the haltias. They would vanish completely or look like stones or tree stumps in the eyes of others. Okay, so you wouldn't see the forest spirits. It talks how animals would vanish, humans would vanish. Oh, yeah. Yes, I love that. I love that. And by the way, silly observation, but the orange nail polish is going away tomorrow. The witch, I'm going to do them black, sparkly black for Halloween. So I wonder how we can connect this this idea of inadvertently getting lost in the forest, and how this might connect to the impetus necessary to break the seed open. And I think perhaps it's just another approach that people go forth in different ways. People go forth in different ways, aren't we? Yes, we are silly. And maybe different projects, different times, different aces of pentacles require different strategies. And so when you pick up a tarot deck, you might get a slightly different kind of message, but I think always it's the perfect kind of message. And maybe if you pull a challenge card, like in the Greenwood, it might remind you that you can't be lackadaisical with this beautiful Ace of Stones. If the Ace of Stones truly contains all of the magic, all of the possibilities, you're not going to uncover that by sitting back on your chair and doing nothing. Granted, if you kick the Ace of Stones, you're going to get a bruised foot, but I think there's something to be said for this level of energy. And then there is something also as well, this connection. I don't know. I'm intrigued. So the hairs and this idea of fecundity, fruitfulness, abundance, and that the haltia of the field is a hare. I think this really speaks to the potential for abundance in any way throughout this suit. Hello, Katara. Welcome. Welcome. Okay, so what about the 3? I don't think this is an easy card. I really don't. I have gone down lots of rabbit holes with the 3 of Pentacles in Pamela Coleman Smith's artwork. Decanic associations, planetary associations, numerological associations. I love looking into the black in the background of Pamela Coleman Smith's artwork and wondering what lurks in the darkness through the alcove in the 3 of Pentacles. 3 of Pentacles is 15 points, which connects to the 15 of the devil. That is the representative major arcanum of Capricorn. There's so many rabbit holes we can go down. 3s, in essence, are about creativity and connect us, of course, with the Empress card, with the number 3 in general. 3 being the first, right? The first completion. So there's this essence of a mini completion, but also a creation of sorts. We are in the suit of Pentacles. 2, 3, 4 of Pentacles are this sort of beginning developmental phase in the suit. And so there's a diligence that is required here. And I think this 2 of Stones really speaks to that diligence. That if we are indeed to develop this suit of Pentacles, we need to pay attention to what's going on. And we need to keep coming back to the drawing board and revise and edit and make it better if it's going to succeed. I think this is a really great myth to weave in the energy or a thoughtfulness to the 3 of Pentacles. These particular Haltias, the tontus, live in any building that has 4 walls. And depending on the nature of the building, whether it is, whether you're in the kitchen or the sauna, whether it is a barn, these particular tontus have a responsibility. They have a responsibility to maintaining a, let's call it a livelihood of what happens in that place. There's a continued effort and a focus that is required. And if we are negligent and we don't fulfill those responsibilities, then the tontus will become angry and wreak havoc in some way. Well, I think this entirely makes sense. And it also points very well to this idea of these 3 very different energies in a Waite-Smith 3 of Pentacles card coming together to solve a problem, coming together to make something better than if we hadn't had this connection of 3 different minds meeting here. And yes, we're all coming from very different places, but there's a level of respect. And in this situation here, if we take care of the home, if we take care of the room will continue to provide what we need. And I had to laugh. There is a reference to the tontus that get very angry if we don't clean the dishes in the kitchen at night and we leave a mess on the kitchen counter, that these tontus will break all of the dishes that are on the counter and then charge out the door and break the door, something like that. I laughed because I believe it was through Indian culture, I think it was there, that how important it is to clean your kitchen at night. You would never go to bed not having cleaned off your kitchen. Now, that's also a matter of sanitation. And I know I lived in Japan for years, and if you don't clean every crumb off the counter and clean every dish on the counter, you're going to have cockroaches all over the place. So there's a matter of practicality as well, too. But this idea of the tontus not being very pleased with this made me laugh. Okay, so I want to go to Susanna Salo here because she writes some great things. She says in terms of this card, now is a good time to leap into action and finish off incomplete projects. The tontu may also refer to everyday toiling and the ability to enjoy one's work. The card may foretell a moving of changes, da 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 da. The Tantra predicts stability, continuity, and coming of wealth. Contrarily, if there seems to be too much action in your life, try to prioritize the projects most important to you and finish them first. There's this idea of satisfaction in our work that seems to be an important concept. Margaret Peterson talks about space for new projects, creating, and I can connect this as well too, and I'm thinking of, well, maybe your kitchen has a multifold purpose, and if we don't clean up the space, the shared space, then we don't have room for the cooking project or the art project that's going to happen in that shared space. We need space in which to create. How true is that? Yeah. And then, do you know this card in Wildwood? So you can see right down here, there's a tiny woman, two massive stones and a tiny little woman. Well, it's a little bit different in the Wildwood. The green woman is a lot larger. I can show you in the, just so in case you have the deck. You remember this card? Slight different variation on the same idea. Listen to this. The practical manifestation of creative energy requires a clear and open channel to the inspirational forces and impulses of the universe. Allowing this energy to flow through you is a rich and rewarding gift in itself. Just as releasing your dreams and desires into the universal consciousness always brings a response, so the releasing of creative energy invites into the artist the healing and enriching fuel from which further insight and visionary stimulus flows. This emotional and spiritual relationship with divine inspiration allows the subconscious mind to delve deeply and summon intuitively creative power that actualizes work. This is an important understanding of kind of where I started today, that these forces, these elements, these powers of Wands, Cups, Swords, Pentacles, fire, water, air, and earth are all part of this building force that dances together, that flows and sometimes bombards against one another, sometimes they deflect. But the more that we are aware of the interaction of everything, the greater our abundance, project, world, garden will be. I think there's something different in this particular card in that we are reminded of how small our humanness is in terms of the greater scope of nature and the elements themselves. So if we don't heed the elements and move with and utilize the elements to their optimal strength, then we're not working together, co-creating with nature. Something feels really, really important there. In general, I think in this suit, we're going to come across lots of themes of action and response. and how important each response is to the next action for the development to continue. Okay. So I'm going to leave you with that thought for today, and I will carry on with a few more Pentacles, Coins cards next Saturday. And lovely having you here in the chat. So nice to have you back. And I am healing and hope to be here every weekend. No more colds, no more bronchitis, none of that. I wanted to highlight Donna's comment too. I feel the light enter my crown and send it down and out of the chakras in my feet. Fireworks at the soles of my feet. Yeah, we just need to bring it all together. Wishing you a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you soon. Take good care. Namaste. Bye, Maeve. Thanks for joining us.